Hi, welcome back. When I first set up to start filming, my upstairs neighbors were still asleep and it was very quiet. Now they are awake. It's okay though, because it kind of adds to the ambience, right? It will make you also feel like you live in a pre-war building in Brooklyn underneath some people who have never walked softly or delicately in their lives. They are otherwise great neighbors and I love them. Okay, hi, welcome back. My name is Caitlin. This is my little corner of the internet where I talk about fiber arts, mostly cross stitch. Every now and again, a ball of yarn will enter our airspace, bolt of fabric. That didn't make sense. Whatever, I'm not editing, okay? I have been trying to come back and make this video for a couple weeks now, and it has just been chaos in the household. My husband has been away for work a lot on his current project. They're out of town, staying in hotels a lot. So I have been solo parenting my two small children and dealing with a sick cat, and we have had illness and potty training and visitors, and my oldest has had spring break. So it's just, anyway, today I kicked my whole family out of the house so I could get a break because I need one. And then I decided, what the heck, let's film a floss tube. So here we are. Did you need to know all that? No, but I told you anyway. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's get into the cross stitch. No finishes since I last saw you. Certainly no FFOs since I last saw you. Try to be better about that. My goal for the year was to do one a month. Hasn't happened. I don't know, maybe next month. Trying not to put too much pressure on myself because of all the before mentioned chaos. So the first thing I worked on was my oldest whip. I started it in 2016. This is my new favorite mug. I'll link it below if you want to get yourself one. I started it in 2016. It just turned 9, started April 2016. I'm trying to finish it within the next year before it turns 10. I think I can definitely do it. Here's a picture of where you saw it last time. And, whoopsies, maybe this way. Here it is now, very wrinkled because I am chaos. So this is stitched on 32 count Silvery Moon by Zweigart, 1/2, which I think gives it a nice soft effect. When you last saw this, I think I was only over here. And since then I have done this section and this flower. There's a little bit of confetti left in this page. I did hit my goal of 1,400 stitches. Okay, well, technically it was 1,300 stitches and change, but I had already done like 2 hours of confetti at that point and I was just done. There's a little bit of confetti left in this page, and this is the start of the 5th page. So I'm now have 4 pages complete, 2/3 of the way through, and I think since this was like 1,300 stitches, I can probably get this done in a couple more weeks if I do some solid stitching sessions, like maybe 3-4 weeks, I could finish it. So definitely could finish it this year. And I don't know, now that I've reached the 2/3 mark, feels like the end is in sight. Feeling a little bit better about that one. So that was the first thing I worked on. That is all DMC, by the way. Okay, so the next thing I worked on was a new start. I started the blue flower, Spooky Smalls, this little spider Biscornu right here. This is going to be my Smalls exchange piece for the Stitch North retreat. It's in a very fancy project bag. This, the designer of this project bag is a little known Etsy designer known as Zip Lock. Actually, this is technically an off-brand, so it's not even I got jokes. Okay, so I have almost finished all the stitching for this. So this is the top. There's a little thread here. And this guy, I stitched the top on a scrap of 32 count linen Picture This Plus Ariel. Wow, that sunlight's really showing all the wrinkles, isn't it? Ah. So I did not use any of the called for, not the fabric, not the floss. I just pulled a bunch of over dyes from Stash, and then the spider and the web are in some little scraps of silk I had. I think probably some dinky dyes and then something else, just little sample sizes or oops pack sizes. And I think it's super cute. However, so the bottom of the Biscornu has these ghosts on it, okay? So I'm almost finished. I just have to do the border around it. So the spider is not actually charted on the bottom part of the Biscornu, but I don't know. After I stitched the top and the bottom, I thought they weren't really cohesive. Like the ghosts didn't really go with the spider. I don't know. It was probably my fault for picking such summery spring colors for the top and then picking such dark Halloween colors for the bottom. After overanalyzing this for roughly 1,500 hours with my husband about whether I should restitch the bottom on a piece of light blue, what to do, the conclusion we came to was ultimately just to add a little spider here, dropping down between the ghosts to kind of make it a little bit more cohesive so that it can be like summer spider, Halloween spider, day spider, and night spider. I don't know. Am I overthinking this too much? Maybe. I just hope the person who gets this likes it, you know? I would feel really bad if they hated it. They won't hate it, right? So that is almost done. As soon as I hang up with you, as soon as I stop recording, I'm gonna go finish the back stitching and then maybe get a start on fully finishing it. I bought some beads, this color, so that I could do a Crafty Kim style beaded edge, which is my favorite way to finish up a Biscornu. So that was that. So I have like a little confession to make. Normally I film these at my desk where my sewing machine is, but it's so covered in craft whips right now that need to be cleaned up and organized, and I didn't want to deal with it. So I actually just set you up on a folding table right in front of my desk, so I didn't have to deal with it before filming a floss tube. Okay, so next, okay, the next thing I worked on, I don't think you've seen this before. Uh-oh, where is it? There it is. This way. Aha. I worked on Christmas Eve cottage garden samplings. These are, other people have said this before, I know Jesse's talked about it a lot. The cottage garden patterns, they always look smaller than they are. Like, this is physically not that big, but it is dense. This coat and this bag, whew, it is a lot of stitching. Christmas Eve, I started this last year, I think, and it's kind of like the Christmas piece I have been focusing on this year because I think I can get it finished in a couple more weeks, 8 weeks or less, if I have some good stitching sessions. So this is being stitched, it's still on the Q-snap. This is being stitched on Picture This Plus Dwarf. It's looking a little, we're kind of having a gray day outside, so it's not showing up as blue as it really is, but it's this kind of beautiful gray blue fabric in real life. So I'm stitching it on 40 count, Picture This Plus Dwarf, 1/2. I used the called for DMC and then the over dyed threads, which are, they're supposed to be gentle art threads. I just substituted with some color and cotton limited editions that were in my stash. I think they were mostly from Christmas boxes I bought many, many years ago. So the green and the red, and then this lighter red here are all Color and Cotton special edition. And then in here, I use some DMC light effects instead of the called for DMC for these little sparklies there. And I have some regret because I made another substitution in this part of the coat. So you can see here on the pattern in the coat, there's this beautiful, some people, there's this beautiful pattern in his fur on his coat or whatever. That is stitched with like a DMC gray color, and I wanted to add some sparkle because Christmas should be sparkly, and I subbed it with a Krynic I had in stash, but I should have gone with the darker one. It's too light. It's way too light, and you can't really see, well, you can a little bit at that angle. You can't really see the beautiful detail of, oops, loose needle. You can't really see the beautiful detail in the fur there. I wish I'd gone with a darker Krynic, but I didn't see my mistake until I had stitched enough of it that I was not ripping that out. No way. So I just kept going. It's fine. No one knows but me. So I did about 1,400 stitches on that. Mostly I worked on the coat, finishing up the coat. And now I just have that giant bag to work on. Okay. Quick little edit for noise there. I have one more whip to share with you. So this week I pulled out Mirabilia Lady Justice. I'm sure you've seen this one before. This was my birthday start in December. And I felt compelled to work on this week because what? It is insane to me that there are Americans aggressively advocating against due process. It is insane to me. This country was basically founded on due process. It was one of the main complaints in the Declaration of Independence against King George. Maybe it wasn't directly listed in the 27, but it's alluded to. It's in our Bill of Rights twice, 5th Amendment, 14th Amendment. The federal courts have many times, I'm happy to cite the cases, many times agreed that it applies to non-citizens. It's for everyone on US soil, not just people you agree with. And I will die on that hill. And I don't care if that makes someone angry or give me a thumbs down or whatever. Like, I cannot understand what is happening right now here. And it breaks my heart. It really does. So after that rant, Lady Justice started for my birthday, worked on it a little bit this week. I didn't have a whole lot of stitching time this week because of spring break, as I mentioned before. Not actually sure. I think, is this up or down? I think it's this way. No, it's got to be this way because of her green dress right there. So I only had a little start on it. I think I only did one night's worth of work on it in December, and then I got a couple hundred stitches in here, this teal and green. I'm stitching this on 28 count Grace Notes fabric in the colorway Belle. It's 28 count linen. I love this purple color. I bought a fat half of this at, I didn't even cut it off. I just like, I just stuck it in this hoop. I bought this at New Jersey retreat with no plans, and then I thought the greens of Lady Justice would just be. So that's all I've stitched on. Those are all my whips. Plan-wise, I think I'm gonna keep working on this one a little bit this week, maybe, I don't know. I'm feeling chaotic. Might have a new start. I recently purchased, it's a PDF, so I don't have it here with me, but I'll, Scorpion and Frog by Jessica Doisy. I'm pronouncing that as if it's French because I am biased, because I grew up in Canada where we speak more Français than Espanol, but maybe, I don't know, I see an accented E and my mind just goes French. So I apologize, Jessica, if I mispronounced your name. Scorpion the Frog, it's beautiful. I first saw these 20 stitches. They are working on this. And so I finally pulled the trigger on purchasing it recently. And I pulled the trigger because I was at Born to Stitch again and doing some shopping, and Amy had some 28 count Midas, picture this plus Midas, which is this gorgeous orange color. And that kind of pulled the trigger for me, where I was like, I would think about buying this pattern. Oh my God, here's the perfect fabric for it. So that's gonna go on this. There might be some color swaps if necessary, but I'm thinking about starting that this week. I won't see you until after I go to Stitch North, and I will be starting, where is it? This little guy. The Trash Panda in the Pumpkins at Stitch North with Deborah and maybe some other people. I don't know, they haven't confirmed. And let's see, what else? I think I'm gonna try and put some more stitches into Christmas Eve because it's so close to a finish, probably more stitches into my oldest whip because it's close to a finish, and maybe even finish Witchy Kitty. I hope I can get all of that done before I see you next. That would be great. Hold me to it. We need to finish some things this year. It is April and I haven't had a finish yet. And I think that actually last year I only had one finish all year, and it was also a retreat small. So I gotta finish some things. Okay, so that is it for plans. That is it for what I've stitched. If you don't like stash and videos, this is your cue to exit stage left. Sayonara, see you next time. So as I mentioned, I went to Born to Stitch again recently, did a little shopping, did a little stitching. I went because I had ordered a bunch of threads from Amy, because I am planning on, where is it? Here it is. I'm planning on restarting Ink Circles, The Birds and the Bees. I started this, I want to say 2017, on some very dark fabric that I now hate. I was just being too cool for school, guys. I thought like some dark brown 40 count, picture this plus fabric was like, I don't know, I was showing off or something. I don't know. I hate it. I hate it, so I'm not working on it. So I decided I'm gonna restart it, and with Debbie's help, because she is a color genius, really. Debbie Stitches Stash, great with color conversions. She's got a great eye for color. She helped me pick out some fabric, and then I needed some thread. So I'm not gonna do both of these. I'm gonna do either one or the other, but I had ordered 5 skeins of each of these. I'm losing the light here, from Amy, and I had to go in to pick them up. So it's Dragon Fruit, Gentle Arts, beautiful, and then Bejeweled Classic Colorwork. So I'm gonna restart Birds and the Bees in one of those colors. I'm not sure which. I'm not 100% sure what fabric yet. You'll know when I know, probably. So I picked up those, and I also picked up, I think this is a fat half by Be Stitch Me Lotus, a half yard. I'm losing the light so you can't really see, but it's a beautiful pale lilac color. Gorgeous. Really into purple lately. I used to only buy blue and brown fabric, and lately I'm super into purple. I don't know why. So no idea what I'm gonna put on this. Zero clue. You'll know when I know. And then finally, I picked up some letters from Mermaid, Nora Corbett. So I got my kids' initials, J and R. My daughters, like most little girls, love mermaids, love sparkly things. So I'll probably stitch those up for them. I'm not sure what fabric yet. I haven't bought the threads or beads. That's not going to be anytime in the next couple of months. Hopefully, maybe by the end of the year. We'll see. I have a lot of other stuff to finish before I add in another project. So that is all I have stash-wise to share with you. I could have sworn I had more. My credit card bill certainly seems to think so. I guess that's what a couple of fat halves of fabric will do for you. That's all I have for stash, which means that's all I have for cross stitch. So if you are only here for the cross stitch, no worries. See you later if you want to go, because that's all the cross stitch I have to share. If you're sticking around, I have been crocheting. So last year, my older daughter, my 4-year-old, found a kit in the thrift store, a crochet kit for this kid's like rainbow scarf. It was a kid's crochet kit that was designed for 8-year-olds. It said like 8+ on it. So theoretically, an 8-year-old should have been able to make this scarf. I, a 38-year-old woman, struggled late into the night, many nights, running the Brooklyn alphabet, up and down, up and down. It was so hard, but I persevered. I finished it. It looks terrible. It's so wonky. It's not the right size, but she loves it and she wears it all the time. If I can, I'll put a picture in here with her face covered up. So that was my introduction to crochet. And after doing that, I said I would never crochet again. I would never do it, that I would only knit. So naturally, this month I started, naturally I decided to crochet a rug. So, because that's the next step after a scarf, a rug. My husband and I have been going through, like, we're millennials, right? So we have a gazillion, million t-shirts, because when we were in high school and college, there was a t-shirt for everything. Every event, every spirit day, week, whatever, had a t-shirt. So we had a bazillion million old t-shirts in our drawers, and we went through one day and pulled them all out to make space because we weren't wearing them anymore. Because, like, where am I gonna wear a sorority t-shirt? Not to work, as pajamas. Not because there's anything wrong with being in a sorority. I'm a proud sorority alumni, but just because it's not like work appropriate, right? So we went through our drawers, pulled out all these shirts we weren't wearing anymore, and I didn't want to just take them to the thrift store or to Goodwill, because I know that they weren't going to be sold. Like, I've been really trying over the last couple of years to reduce my fiber waste. I think we've all seen by now, if you haven't, maybe I'll link it below in case you're unaware, but there's like mountains of clothing trash in the desert that are so big, secondhand clothing trash, that we can see them basically from outer space. It's horrible. Fiber, like fashion, is one of the biggest polluters now, because people are only wearing things for a short time and then donating them. And the sad truth is that a lot of thrift stores are getting more donations than they can handle. And a lot of the stuff that's donated actually isn't sellable. Like, my old ripped up sorority t-shirt is not something that my local thrift store or Goodwill could sell to another person. It's just gonna end up shipped off to another country, and it's gonna end up in a landfill there. So I've been trying to reduce my textile waste, and so I decided to cut all these t-shirts up into t-shirt yarn. have like a little bit here, which is a very labor intensive process. It sounds easy, but it's like, oh, it's a lot of cutting and stretching. So I cut them all up into t-shirt yarn and then didn't really know what to do with them. And after kind of doing some Googling and Pinteresting, I landed on the idea of turning them into a rug. And so the best vessel for making a rug, the best medium for making a rug seemed to be crochet, not knitting. So back to crochet I crawled, and I have been, I've done a lot. Okay, so it's getting there. Ignore the loose ends, ignore these waves are probably gonna block out, but I've gotten a lot done. So this is pretty much all, this is all ripped up old t-shirts of mine and my husband's, with the exception of this dark blue color here, which is factory made t-shirt yarn that I found at the thrift store, a partial skein, a roll, a partial ball of it that I'm using to kind of like anchor all the colors together. So I have no idea how many rotations, how many rounds this is. I will link below the tutorial I'm using for it. It's very, very easy. It's not really a pattern so much as it is a guide, and it's a good guide, and so I'll link it below. I don't know how much bigger it's gonna get. I think I'm kind of just gonna go until I run out of yarn or feel happy with the size. I might run out of white, in which case I don't know what I'm gonna do. But I've been spending a lot of time working on that. It's actually easier for me to crochet while watching my kids than it is to cross stitch or knit, because I find crochet is just easier to frog, or at least the simple crochet I'm doing. I haven't tried anything other than like basic increases and decreases, right? But I find it easier to frog than knitting. When I make a mistake in knitting, I almost always end up ripping the whole thing out and starting over, because I just have a really hard time getting a lifeline through and all that. So I find crochet to be very easy to pick up and put down with my kids. And if I make a mistake, it's pretty easy to pull back, especially with t-shirt yarn because it's so stiff. So I've been doing a lot of that. The other thing that I have crocheted is I decided 5 days before Easter that I needed to crochet some Easter eggs for my children to find around the house, because nothing like some last minute crafting. I didn't do too many. I did a few. They're very lumpy. Don't look at them too close. I'll also link this tutorial below. Super easy. 13 rounds. My color changes are very sloppy. I used some scraps of yarn I had floating around from other things, just little small scraps. Oh, let's see. My color changes are super sloppy, but it looks fine from the side. It's like a little crooked. So I've been working on that. Very kind of, I don't know, meditative. Is that the right word? It's relaxing. Because again, super easy, small pattern. I don't know. I'm finding, I think a lot of people I've talked to seem to prefer either crochet or knitting based on which one they started first. So most people who started with knitting seem to prefer knitting. Most people who started with crochet seem to prefer crochet. I started with knitting, but I think I might like crochet better. So far I'm finding it more therapeutic, whereas knitting like puts me in a very angry headspace. It is not therapeutic. It's just like, why does it never work out? Wow, I've had too much coffee. So that's it for crochet, which means that's it for craft stuff. So if you're not interested in books, well, I don't even really have that much to talk about in terms of books, because I haven't really read anything either super horrible or super amazing. Everything's been very middle of the road. I did finish Trial of the Sun Queen. It did get better in the last 100 pages. There was a hook. I did listen to the audiobook of the second book, mostly because it was immediately available on Libby. I wouldn't say it's horrible. It definitely has basically no plot and no character development. It is very, very heavy on the romance. The romance, you know? It's a romantasy, and it's very heavy on the tension. So for that, maybe 5 stars. Like if you were looking just for romance, it's a good one. If you're looking for plot, skip it. I've been listening to Babel by R.F. Kuang. So I read Yellowface earlier this year and I loved it. It's probably the best book I've read all year, and it's her newest book. It's the best book I've read all year, possibly the best book I've read in a couple years. It is so good. Cannot recommend it enough. 5 stars, 10 out of 10. It's very different than her other books, I think. I haven't read the Poppy War series yet. I own at least one of them, but haven't read them because they seem pretty epic and dense. So Yellowface is a contemporary satirical novel. It's a satirical novel about an author who steals the work of another author who happens to be her dead acquaintance or friend. It's very funny. The main character is like a total POS, just terrible person, constantly making the worst choices. But Kuang is such a good writer. You know, like this book really proves that it doesn't matter if your main character is completely 100% unlikable. If you're a good writer, you can still make a good book. And she is a good writer. Like her main character, you just want to, but you can't stop reading. Definitely recommend that one. Really liked it, which is why I picked up Babel, which is a standalone book of hers. I didn't feel like getting into a 3-part series. Babel's like a little bit historical fiction, magical realism. It's really dragging. I don't know. It's really dragging, and I do not know if I'll finish it. I'm like a quarter of the way through, and it's very long. Can somebody please tell writers that they don't have to write books that are 500 pages all the time? Like, I want like a good 11-hour audiobook, a good 390-page novel. That's a sweet spot right there. 400 and under. What? These like 500, 600, 24-hour long audiobooks. I don't know, but maybe it'll get better and I'll let you know. It's pretty hard for me to stop reading a book. I have to like really hate it. So I guess that's everything. Kind of a dull note to end on, that I read a lot of books that aren't really that great, but that's everything. So I hope you all have a very pleasant holiday weekend. If you celebrate Easter, I hope you have a good one. We do the Easter bunny, but that's kind of it. We're agnostic, but so my 4-year-old told me yesterday evening, 6 p.m. Friday before Easter, oh, by the way, she's been writing letters to the Easter bunny asking for a Moana doll. So she's very sure, she's 100% sure he's going to put one in her Easter basket. This is the first I've heard of it. So I guess when I'm all finished, I will be shopping for a Moana doll because I don't want to ruin her childhood. Kids. So I hope you have a good holiday weekend. I hope you have an excellent end to April, a good start of May. I will see you again post Stitch North, where hopefully I'll have some goodies to share with you and some progress. And please let me come back with a finish. I'm not coming back until there's a finish. Okay? All right, I'll see you again next time. Take care.